Welcome, everyone, to American Literature from the Civil War to Present, Literature 221. My name is Mrs. Driver. I am going to be your instructor this semester. I am looking forward to working with all of you this semester. I know that some of you are excited about this course, as some of you might be a little nervous about taking this course. I'm hoping that after week one, you'll feel a little more comfortable, a little bit more familiar, and enjoy the readings. Now, before you begin, I just wanted to point some things out. I know many of you are experienced online learners, but just in case, I'm going to go through some of the policies of the course, some of the announcements, and kind of go through the syllabus a little bit, and then show you how to get your first week's lesson in readings. So first, make sure to read my welcome announcement. It kind of gives you an idea of what the expectations are from the course, and it's a quick introduction. Then I also want you to look at the department late policy clarification. The English department has pulled together a new late policy. It is important then that you read this policy so you kind of understand what my expectations are for this course. I am going to work with you if you have extenuating circumstances, but I do want you to let me know about these circumstances ahead of the due date of the assignment. I do not accept bulk loading during week 8, and I don't think many instructors allow for that either. However, I will work with you if you have issues that cause you to hand in an assignment late, but you need to let me know as soon as possible when you have these issues. Okay? All right, so let's see. And there is another announcement, and that is the librarian has office hours as well now, so that's terrific. So when you have your final paper due and you want to use research, please contact the librarian, and she or he will be happy to help you with any research needs that you might have. It is critical that you look at the syllabus for this course. The syllabus kind of outlines my expectations for the class, and it kind of gives you a good idea of when the assignments are due, what the point breakdown for each of the individual assignments are. And I don't know why it's not pulling up, but let's try it again. Okay. We'll wait a few moments. There we go. Okay. I'm in my office, and sometimes the internet is a little slow up here. So anyway, here is the syllabus. Okay, I'm going to scroll down so you see what the assignments are. First, you have 3 assignments. The first 2 are worth 20 points each, and the final assignment is worth 25 points. Okay. The readings are listed in the chart, and it also kind of gives you a good idea of what is due in terms of forum work. So just take a look at that so you see what the expectations are for the course. Note that my office hours will be posted on Monday, the day that for the office hours. They will vary just because I want to give everyone access to office hours if they need it. But also note that I am on all the time. So anytime you need me, I most likely will respond to you fairly quick. No, certainly never more than 24 hours, never more than that. Okay, so I'm on every day. So please contact me if you ever have any questions or concerns. I also want you to make sure to go through each of the weekly readings. It's critical that you read the lesson and all of the assignments before completing the forums. I want you to let me know that you've completed the readings. Read each work carefully, and then really get into some specific details from the readings. That way I know you haven't just read a summary site, but that you've actually thoughtfully read the readings. And plus, it's really hard to think critically about a work of literature when you actually haven't read the work of literature. So please read the literature. So today we're on week 1, and it's post-Civil War poetry. I know the readings are a little bit tricky. Let's kind of go through. Okay, so I'm going to go through the overview, and then I'm going to click on next. Let's see if I can get it to pull up. Okay, so the readings are listed here, but to get the actual readings, you need to actually click on the Entellus link, and it takes a little bit for it to roll up. But so then this is where you find all the readings for this course. All right, is through the link at the bottom of the reading and resources. So after completing the readings, I want you to definitely go through the lesson. The lesson will give you a good idea of the author's background and romanticism. And it's important to note that romanticism is not about romance, okay? Look at this sentence right here. It's about the emotional aspect of life and the beauty of nature. It focuses on nature and even in the smaller things. For example, with Walt Whitman's poetry, he writes about the tiniest little details, spiders spinning a web, just these tiny little details that he finds beauty in. And that's the point of romanticism, is sometimes we get into our own heads and we become very, I wouldn't say narcissistic, but kind of selfish in a way and not aware of the world around us. Well, romanticism is a reaction to that, and it actually focuses on the world, and it's less about the individual person and more about being one with the world. And that kind of goes with transcendentalism as well. Okay, so the romanticism is an outgrowth of transcendentalism, and again, it's realizing that man's role in the universe is important, but the universe is equally important and nature is equally important. And it's kind of like we're all one with nature, and nature, we all come together through nature and the importance of the world around us, and recognizing that the beauty within the world, and it's less about man being at the top of the pyramid and more about man being within the world. I know it sounds a little strange, but that's basically what the thought process is of many of the works we will read this week. Okay? So we'll read some of the romantic poets. We have Emily Dickinson, and she's an interesting author because she never married and she died young, and she was very introverted and lived a very quiet life, and she really wasn't even well known during her life, but her poetry has obviously exploded to the point where we even have a university named after her. So she became quite important in our American literary history, and she probably would have been quite shocked at how well read her work is today. And the lesson kind of gives you a background of her work, and then it gives you two poems. The one that most enjoy discussing is "I Am Nobody, Who Are You?" Now, some of you might be confused by the work, but note that many believe that she was happy being a nobody, right? She was fine with no one knowing her. She loved her privacy. And then note this: how dreary to be somebody, how public, like a frog, to tell your name the livelong day to an admiring bog. And think about the connections to today's social media. Some people are, rather addicted to social media and the likes and needing people to affirm them, whereas she didn't really need that. Okay, so that's basically the gist of that poem. Now, you might come up with something completely different, but that's how many interpret this particular poem. And then we have Walt Whitman, who, like Dickinson, really wasn't well known until after his death. Now, one work that is kind of tricky, you'll be reading Song of Myself, or at least parts of it. And basically, Song of Myself is how we all come together as Americans. He discusses many aspects of Americana, not just himself. It is not a work of selfishness. It is a work that brings together all of America, everyone in America coming together, everything. It's actually just, uniting our country. And what's interesting about Walt Whitman is that he experienced the death of Abraham Lincoln, and so that affected a lot of his work as well. And remember, this is coming out of the Civil War, and so he's trying to bring together the country. Okay, so it kind of discusses that in the biographical information for Walt Whitman in your lesson this week as well. Okay, so there's from Song of Myself, and then hopefully, let's see if this is, oh, Captain, my Captain. I love this poem. You'll have to think about who that captain is. It's fairly obvious if you listen to this whole lecture in its entirety, but think about who that captain is and who is he praising in this poem. So anyway, last I want to kind of give you a feel for the forums. So let's pull that up. You have 2 forums due this week. You have an introduction due and a form 1 talking about identity. In the introduction forum, it's fairly easy. You just kind of comment on, your experience with literature, the regular things. The identity, though, deals with the readings this week, and many people are a little nervous because they're afraid they're going to get it wrong. They're afraid their interpretation of the poetry due this week will be different than mine. I'm fine with that. I'm actually okay if you come up with a unique interpretation, if you read it differently than I do. There's no right or wrong answer to these forums. You just need to read the work and think about the work and then tell me what you think it means. Okay, so there's 3 parts to the poem. First, it's your response to Dickinson and one of the Whitman poems. Okay, and you can use either one. It says to the Dickinson poem, but there are 2 poems listed in the lesson, so you can use either one of those. Okay, and just tell me what your reaction is. How do you connect with the poem? If you don't, that's fine. Find some other way, some other person who could connect with the poem. Then the internet resources, just give us some help. Like if you had difficulty with the poem, what did you find useful in helping you with the interpretation? And finally, experience Song of Myself and knowing that it's kind of trying to bring all of America together. What does this poem say about American identity? Now, your initial post should be 200 words. I don't require citations. I don't require perfect grammar, but I do require critical thinking and participation with your classmates. Now, as the forums move forward, week 2 on, the participation requirements will be, never mind. It used to be the participation requirements changed in week 2, but it actually is in week 1 as well. So you need to post more than twice if you want a higher grade. So if you post 2 times this week, you will receive a 76. If you post 3 times this week, you'll receive an 88. 3 responses. So 1 initial post and 2 responses is a 76. 1 initial post and 3 responses is an 88. 1 initial post and 4 responses could be an A. So that's 5 high quality posts. I know this is a bit confusing, but basically the English department wants you to actively participate in the forums. And the more you participate, the better you're going to do. So you post, let's say you create an initial post and then you post 2 responses to your classmates' initial post, and then you come back and you respond twice to people who have posted to you your initial post. You probably would get an A, okay? If you, let's say, post an initial post and you post twice to your classmates' initial post and that's all you do, well, you're probably going to get a 76. The first week, I will give you a little leeway. I'm going to give you information in the week 1, my week 1 grading for the forum. And I will give you some time during week 2 to create your mistakes. But after week 2, I don't give extra chances after the forum is due. Okay? Of course, if you have any questions about that, please message me. I want you to ask me questions when you're confused. I can't tell if something is confusing to you. You need to let me know. Okay? Well, I think that's about it. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Again, just let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I'll be happy to help you. And I hope you enjoy the readings. I do want to point out that the week one readings are quite difficult, but they actually become easier as the course moves forward. It's chronological, so some of the terms are a little archaic and it can be a little tricky, but you'll get the handle of it. All right? Again, though, contact me if you have any questions. I wish you the best, and I'll see you in the forums.